Hi, welcome to my channel.
Hi, today we're going to learn how to sketch complex form using cross sections. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through those across two different videos. The first one is going to just lay out our basic form, and then the follow-up video is going to show how we're going to build on those forms to create our final object. Okay, so the tools that you'll need are very simple. You can choose to either use a pencil where you can erase, make changes if you like, but I prefer to use ink. I like to use both a Sharpie ultrafine point and a rollerball style pen. And what's nice is the roller style ball pen will give you a nice line. It'll let you bear down and give you a little more precise control. Okay. Now what I have underneath this sheet of drawing is one that I've already completed. And let me just kind of pull this away and reveal what that drawing looks like. And yes, it's a car. And I know there's a lot of callouts here, and we'll go all through those as we sketch. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to recreate this car. I'm going to take you through the process of how I went about doing it. Okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and pull my art supplies away over here, take my pens away. And I'll just set this drawing aside. Okay? And let's go ahead and take. Now, by the way, the paper I'm using here is just 8.5 by 11. It's just letter size paper. It's copy grade paper. It's probably about 96 brightness, and I believe it's about 20-pound paper. So it's something you can easily find in any copier or just office supply store. Okay. So what we're going to do first is we're going to begin with the fundamentals of perspective. Now, what is that? That's establishing the station point. Okay. And you guys remember what the station point is, right? The station point is your point of view. It's actually where you're standing. All right. And the next point I'm going to lay out is the horizon line. Okay. That goes straight across the page. All right. Now, again, I did this freehand, but you can use a ruler if you like. I know it's a little bit crooked, but you get the idea. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to imagine a couple of vanishing points. Okay. We're going to use 2-point perspective. We're going to have one over here on the left side and one that's way over here on the right side. You can't even see it. Actually, you won't be able to see both of them. But what we're going to do is we're going to favor this side of the drawing. Okay. So we're going to place that vanishing point far right. We're going to establish our ground plane. And then we're going to establish our vanishing point going up. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to determine the footprint. We're going to determine the width and the length of our object. So what you do is you mark the points on the ground plane, and then you move in that basic direction, always maintaining a bit of convergence. Okay. And the same thing goes with this side too. Okay. Now, as you remember in basic perspective, these lines over here opposite the right side are heading to the left VP. Okay, I'm just going to write that LVP over here so at least you remember. And we'll just go ahead and jot down the horizon. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, and I still like to do callouts because it's just always kind of a nice little quick reminder of where you are in the drawing. All right. Now, where these 2 points converge at the far end is that fourth corner. So go ahead and mark the intersection, okay? And let's go ahead and just project some vertical lines up, okay? Now, why do we project the lines up? What that does is it allows us to start to begin visualizing a surface, all right? And then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to find the very center of your footprint. And the way you do that, now you can use a ruler if you like, but I'm just going to eyeball it. Okay, and when you eyeball it, go slowly. So you keep your eyes on the prize, okay, which is basically your destination. All right. So here's basically our center point, okay, and all you have to do now is align that to the front and the back, okay, and that's also going back to the right vanishing point. All right. Now, a lot of you are probably saying, oh my God, do I have to do this every time I do a sketch? No, but because we're kind of going through this whole process together, it's always good to go from the very beginning and take you all the way through, okay? Now, again, I shared with you, this is only a one of 2-part drawing, so just stick with me, and what we'll do is we'll get there, all right? Now, what I did here while I was gabbing away was I went ahead and projected another set of vertical lines from the ground plane. Remember how we did vertical lines at the core corners? You're going to do it right at the beginning, right at the center. All right. And then what you're going to do is you're going to project how high do you want this shape to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to project it here on the station point line because that's right in front of me. Okay. And I estimate it's going to be about this high. Okay. So what you're going to do now is go ahead and project a couple lines going back towards those vanishing points. Okay. And then we want to look for where this meets the height. Okay. Now you can see that. All right. And what that does is it's going to highlight that center plane, so we have some idea of what that shape or what that profile of that shape is, or that form that we're going to draw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change gears. I'm going to go to a Sharpie pen because I think the Sharpie pen is going to give us a little more maneuverability here. Okay, so I've gone from my ballpoint to my Sharpie ultra fine point, and let's go ahead and start to take a look at what the profile should be. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start low. I'm going to give it a little bit of a rise here. I'll bring it back. And you see what I did here? I did some draw through. Remember the draw through terminology and technique we've been doing in previous drawings or in your other previous drawing classes? You want to practice that because that's going to give you an idea of kind of where you're going to intersect planes. Okay. And here's the lower section. Okay. Now if I go ahead and strengthen that line, you see how I'm strengthening it by just kind of sketching over it a bunch of times? That's going to give us our first section. All right. So if you look at it in perspective, you can kind of start to feel what the shape is going to look like. All right. Next part of the drawing we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of sections, and then we'll show you what to do next. I'm going to go ahead and find the nose of it here, probably midway. And I'm also going to start to determine what the midsection of the shape is going to be like. So I'm going to project a few lines. And go ahead and take that line all the way to the floor. Okay. Let me write the word floor here. Okay. And what that's going to do, it's going to allow you now to project those lines. Let me just move these out of the way here. It's going to allow you to project those lines now back to the vanishing point. Okay, so watch. You see, this is going back to the vanishing point. This is also going back to the same vanishing point. And you'll notice that the angles are going to be slightly different only because of the convergence. Okay, again, the word convergence. You need that to give you a sense of depth. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and project these lines upward. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to start to think a little bit about contour, right? So let's go here. Boy, that's a pretty different contour, eh? It's like an L shape, huh? Almost like a little sofa. And this has a little bit of a hump. So these two shapes are going to kind of give you a hint as to kind of what you're going to do with it. All right. And then what I'm going to do is start to think a little bit about how does that kind of transfer over to the other side, right? Because this is symmetrical. So I'm going to come over to this side of the drawing, this side of the plane, right? This is one section. These are the cross sections, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and do the other side. And what's nice about this is I have a guide here, okay? I'm looking through the others. I'm looking right through the drawing. I'm applying the principles of good perspective, of convergence. Gets a little tricky here. Okay. There we go. Okay. You notice a little sleight of hand here. I wanted to revert back to the ground plane because what that's going to do is going to determine my distance, right? Like exactly how far out are my boundaries, and then come back into the view of the drawing. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to end the drawing here because this is enough of the main section, right? in the cross sections, and I just needed 2 to get me going, to then start to begin getting ready for the next drawing, which will allow me to build on these cross sections to better define the drawing. Okay, so on my next video, I'm going to share with you how we're going to keep going and build on our shape. All right, thanks for watching.